Now, we all know Cyberpunk isn't a horror game, but that hasn't stopped it generally from having some truly unnerving missions that will leave you shivering in your gamer chair. So, for this spooky Halloween special, I'm going to give you a rundown of my top 6 most scary quests in Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty. Famed for having some of the most mature writing in the industry, CD Projekt Red doesn't ever shy away from sensitive or potentially upsetting storylines, and that's what actually makes their games so good, because the highs are offset by the lows and it gives you that roller coaster ride of emotion that creates great attachments with characters. But I digress, that's for another video. Things like the space between Sanctum Profanum and Dirty Biz are more traumatizing than they are excitingly scary, if you get me. So I'm not actually going to include those in today's rundown. What does that leave us with, Tez? Well, I'll tell you. Let's get into it. And no, if you play this video in reverse, you will not hear Stairway to Heaven.
Starting at number 6.
Now, this one might surprise you that it's even on the list, but it's a Delamain job. Now, hear me out. I actually found this one pretty scary. In the Delamain side job, Don't Lose Your Mind, you have to return to Delamain HQ, where the virus has run rampant and it's basically infected all the machinery in the place. Quote-unquote virus. While there, you have doors that are opening and closing by themselves, you have rogue robots, dangerous machinery that seems like it's out to get you, and you get that whole feeling that at any time this AI might turn on you. It feels like you're in the guts of one big Delamain AI machine, crawling around it like something pretty insignificant. You know, AI is a dangerous thing, and it can cause fear. And I did actually find this quest pretty scary, but still, it's at the bottom of the list for a reason, because it pales in comparison to some of the other ones. It's like walking through a haunted house with the doors sparking, opening and closing, and unnerving messages here and there.
Watch for exposed wires. They'll be lying.
You have no right to cages!
Number 5.
Sorry. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing that or not. We'll see. I was in two minds about whether or not to include this one, because this does rank up there with the disturbing side of scary stuff, more along the lines of movies like Seven or things like that, where they are about serial killers and potentially upsetting. But when you actually arrive at Edgewood Farm during the hunt, it really plays out like a terrifying serial killer movie where you have to proceed through it. Stepping into that barn and not knowing what lies in wait is actually quite a terrifying experience. I'm not going to go into this one in detail, but Peter Pan is probably one of the scariest characters in the game, and he's not someone that's coming at you like Smasher all chromed up. So yeah, it's fairly scary.
Number 4.
And speaking of Smasher, this one is a specific fight in the game, and the way the fight is introduced to you, the first time I genuinely jumped out of my seat, because you're not expecting it. You'll know what I mean, and that's the Adam Smasher fight. The way he bum rushes you through the doors, it knocks you back.
But you can always start over.
And the whole fight is kind of terrifying. He is an absolute force to be reckoned with, and you are running around the whole time pretty fearful. He's quite a terrifying figure, and if there ever was a boogeyman, it's gonna look like Smasher.
Number 3.
Okay, next up we have one that might surprise you that it's even on this list, and that is Where Is My Mind? Where Is My Mind is a main job that is the conclusion of, you guessed it, the devil ending. This whole job plays out like a psychological horror, like a nightmare, where you as V are trapped in this recurring haze of Voight-Kampff tests, Rubik's Cubes, and treadmills. You've gone from being the most badass merc in the city to being trapped in this room not really knowing what's happened. The whole thing is very disturbing. and it really hits you at this one specific moment when you were going through your routine tests. Yeah, I had to take a beat when I first played this. Holy shit. Oh man. It's a jump scare, but boy, it's a jump scare. It really does solidify the whole nightmare feeling of it. You don't feel like you have control. Everything feels very surreal. It's a horrible ending. Do! Oh, this one is renowned for being one of the most scary missions in the game. It's only a Cyber Psycho sighting, and it was made worse by a bug that kind of made me feel a bit like Psycho Mantis did back in the early Metal Gear Solid days, that I really just don't want to test if it still exists right now. But it's the Cyber Psycho sighting Bloody Ritual. Now, this is in the north side in Watson, and it can only be started between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m, so it has to be played through at night time. It's forcing you into scary time because that's really what this quest feeds on. Set in a grimy back alley strewn with the detritus of a satanic ritual, you'll be presented initially with somebody who is in the last breaths of life crawling, and they'll have a cultist shard on them. In the middle of the ritual there is a large freezer and there is blood everywhere. What is happening here is that the Maelstrom gang are trying to actually summon a rogue AI called Lilith from beyond the black wall. So it's like a demonic summoning. And when the Cyber Psycho actually emerges from the freezer full of ice water, she moves like a demonic spirit would in terrifying fashion, flitting about the place. It's a very, on face value, scary quest. What always made it more scary for me personally, and I know many people had this bug, is that there is a breathing sound effect that happens throughout the gig. And even when you complete Bloody Ritual and you defeat the Cyber Psycho, that breathing remains, and it only goes if you save and reload, or if you quit the game and come back in. It stays there. It's absolutely terrifying. The first time I was playing it, it was at nighttime and I was alone, and I wasn't even sure if it was the game I was hearing at first. I hated it. Oh man. Yeah, so if we've played Phantom Liberty, we all know the dangers of dealing with AIs from beyond the black wall. That's a nice, scary one. Definitely a good one to play for Halloween. And finally, and this one absolutely has to take the top spot, and that's Somewhat Damaged. Based on my comments, this one is quite polarizing among many. A lot of you aren't in any way interested in a main job that plays like Cyberpunk's answer to Alien Isolation. I get that, but I think it is absolutely perfect for this list, and I absolutely loved it. It definitely is the one that's given me the most physical fear reaction. Even during Bloody Ritual, it was more of the audio experience that did it, but this one also has that in spades. So there is a maintenance bot in this mission that the Blackwall AI, or Songbird, inhabits and controls and takes over and tries to hunt you down. It behaves in the same way that the alien from Alien Isolation did.
You don't understand. You can't. Data terminal power disabled. New lockdown control protocol.
She tried to stop me. Now it's late.
But dropping in from the vents and then patrolling the area and managing to catch you if you pop your head out from behind wherever you are quivering. There is no way to fight and defeat this thing. It is a possessed hunk of metal with a drill bit on the end of its arm that can just mince you with ease. And I think that's actually reason for quite a few people's dislike of it, because you are a badass merc that can take down a chimera, yet this little maintenance bot is giving you some trouble. Yeah, I can understand that, and the Cerberus bot definitely came with its fair share of plot armor, but just like the alien, physical size and brute force are not always the be-all and end-all of something's power. Its ability to move quickly, and the fact that it's being controlled by what at that point in the game feels like a fully unleashed version of the Blackwall AI versus the one that Somi is struggling with during the Chimera fight essentially helps justify that for me. But yeah, no, I do get the grievances people have with it, but that doesn't matter in the context of the fact that it is terrifying. So yeah, it is generally terrifying. The way the animation was done with it, the way it moves so quickly when it spots you, the kind of Shodan-like mutterings as it's searching for you, the whole thing is so well put together. It plays out like a survival horror, just like Alien Isolation, and it really brings a new dimension to the game that did not exist before. Fuck! I wholeheartedly embraced it and absolutely loved it. It was a really nice change of pace, but you know, I have spent near on 1,000 hours in the game now, so sometimes a change of pace is a very welcome thing. But yeah, so there you go. That takes my top spot. It was definitely brown pants time. It left me quaking in my exojacks. And yeah, I truly loved it. So there you go. And just as an honourable mention at the end there, I think for all the guys watching this, Burning Desire probably ranks pretty high in the scary shit scale. I know it's funny because it's not happening to us, but holy shit, you don't want to overthink that one. You know, if it was somehow happening to V, that would probably be my top spot. But because it's not and it's happening to poor old Jesse, I'm sorry, but yeah, it has an element of humour. And that's a lot down to his performance in it, which is done really well. But anyway.
Quit screaming in my ear.
Don't know you.
There was my list. I hope you enjoyed it. What would be your top 5 most scary quests, or is it the same as mine and you just reorder them? Let me know. I'd be very curious to know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please, I'd appreciate it if you jack that like button for me, and if you want to subscribe, that's totally up to you as well, but that would be very cool. Thank you so much for your support. Have a great Halloween, folks, and if it's not Halloween, enjoy Fright Night. Take care. Bye.
Number 6.